So a kitchen servant often threw dirt and unclean water on him. Houdakin asked the head cook to chastise the boy. The cook chided the kobold for fearing a child. The kobold replied, "Since you won't punish the boy, I will. In a few days, let you see how much afraid of him I am." And you won't believe what he did next.
What'd he do?
So when the boy went to sleep, Houdakin strangled him, cut him to pieces, and put him in the pot.
God damn, that escalated quickly.
It's crazy. The cook rebuked the kobold for this behavior, which prompted Houdakin to squeeze toes over the bishop's meat and punt the cook into the castle below.
that definitely escalated. He punted him? Like, kobolds are like three. Kobolds are like three. At that point,
the bishop was like, "We gotta get him out of here."
Absolute mad lad. 3 feet tall and punting the cook? How tall is this cook?
I don't know. That's what the facts we need.
Yeah, that's what I need to know. It's not the who, what, when, where, and why. It's the how tall is this guy? Is this like a Danny DeVito looking cook?
Maybe back in the day they thought they were bigger.
Well, maybe it's one of those things where people used to be a lot shorter, so kobolds were more of a threat.
That is true. That's true. All right, you want to go ahead and get started?
Oh, I might. Now let's start the show. Yeah, here we go. All right, welcome to Dungeons and Talkshows, the talk show that brings you dungeons, dragons, monsters, homebrews, and news. I'm your host, Orion.
I'm your host, Sam.
And with us in the studio today, we have Forrest Facets. Welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to be here.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself? What do you do?
Oh, longtime friend of Orion over here, and just coming along to lend my skills to the thumbnail creation for now, and maybe even lend my mind to some of these topics we're talking about.
I understand you do a lot of AI stuff. I've seen some of it. It's fantastic. There was that Ren and Stimpy story that started out as a crossover with the Angry Beavers that you had an AI write.
Oh my gosh, I was just so happy to hear that GPT knew exactly, like, every little detail about Ren and Snippy. It was hilarious. And Angry Beavers. So naturally I had to do a crossover episode.
It was wild.
I missed this.
I'll send you the thing afterwards. You know what? Because it was mentioned, I'll have to put like a link in the description.
Yeah.
But
Put it on the Reddit.
Dude, it's great. I liked it. But the main reason that we're kind of bringing him in here today is there's a big thing in the community that's been going around, a heavy Reddit debate over AI DMs taking over. The robots are replacing us, Sam.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of worry in the art community with the AIs.
Yeah, it's kind of a big thing. And honestly, I didn't think that Dungeon Masters would be the first on Skynet's radar. Like when
I can't believe I've never even heard of this.
Dude, when I was watching Terminator, I didn't think that the Dungeon Masters would be the first to go.
Yeah, that AI dungeon there is pretty impressive. Just the way that they've got it set up.
Yeah, you had me check that out last night.
Specifically made to create your own little world. It asks you races, it asks you details about your world, and then it takes all that into account at the beginning of your adventure, and it's very open-ended from there.
Interesting. So I was about to ask how it works, but you did kind of go into it a little bit.
Yeah, that's just a quick overview too, because I really haven't delved into it too much. I downloaded it on my phone because they do have an app on the Play Store.
Ooh,
nice.
That sounds.
Is that something that you think you would recommend to people?
I recommend everybody check it out just to see, you know, what's its limitations, what's its use cases. Could it be useful to you? And if anything, it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, maybe we could use this like a kind of like a partner to a DM, you know?
Yeah, that's how I like to think of all these tools, is like hopefully not gonna replace, even though that's maybe out of the question, but hopefully more than replace people, it could just add to people's workflows, make things a little bit easier. That was things that were tedious before could just be a little easier.
Right. Definitely when it comes to, building a story, that could be pretty tough for some people. So having this as an option to help you may be really enticing.
Oh yeah, I think just for people who are just getting started and need inspiration, it's a huge reference to be able to just instantly kind of expand on an idea you already had or anything like that, and hopefully inspire people to just create more.
Yeah, having more tools in the tool belt is definitely a big thing. And one thing my dad has always kind of pushed on is that when it comes to whether it's in-game magic or real-life technology, the point isn't for the tool to be the mainstay, but to have the tool buttress what you're already capable of.
Like that word, buttress.
Yes.
No, but yeah, that's so true, man. I thought it was interesting earlier. I was watching some videos on the topic and reading some articles, and it was talking about when cameras were invented, and photography was seen as this huge threat to art because it could just create an image out of reality. I mean, all you had to do was point and click. It was such a big debate as to whether it was even an art form at all for so long after the technology came around, until people finally were like, all right, yeah, I guess the way you pointed and the settings you have it on and the way you develop it, I guess it's an art form. So I feel like we're seeing that same thing happen now with just another new piece of technology.
It's a really good point.
Damn, I hadn't thought about that.
And a lot of people do argue if AIs are able to create art. And I always feel like they can, even if they may not have that, human sentience.
Yeah, I've heard something that you always get that one guy in your friend group that says this. Trust and believe that both of you have heard somebody tell you this. And basically it goes like this. There's no real original ideas or original thoughts.
Oh my God, I am this guy.
Yeah. Don't cut me off on that one.
Sorry.
Don't beat me to the punch. So there's no original thoughts, only people taking two things that have already been thought and then that makes the thought, but it's never just an original thought. Like,
oh, you didn't think about this, dude? I thought about that yesterday. So where are we at now?
Exactly. It's like there's no original thoughts because someone's already thought it before. Yeah.
Like, unless you were one of the first people to have those kind of thoughts, you probably weren't that original.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at with this is that how humans work, or how I work at least, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but basically the idea is I take something and that's a little inspiration and I'll combine it with something else. Like, should a school bus be filled with cheese? Cheese bus? Maybe. And then what if I pop cheese bus in a campaign setting and fill it with kobolds?
What?
Well, it's absurd, but that's how a thought process can be. Yeah, the cheese bus.
Okay. I wonder if kobolds like cheese.
I don't know, but that just makes me think of that one Boondocks episode where it's like, you can't bribe the white man with cheese, granddad. Meanwhile, here I am watching the show. The fuck you can't. You can bribe me all fucking day.
Man, you can bribe me with cheese.
See? Cheese is colorblind. Both of us can be bribed with cheese.
Cheese is colorblind.
That's great. So what's the monster of the week, my guy? I'm guessing it's kobolds.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. It is about kobolds today.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over the various subspecies, what they were like. I'm gonna go a little bit into the real world folklore.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Mhm.
Is
Then
that
we're
where
gonna
that
go
story
to
came
the
from?
That is. It was from a folklorist Thomas Keatley in the 1850s.
Okay, so kobolds were in the present mind of the people of the 1850s, so not exactly a Gygaxian invention.
Yeah, they come from different cultures, German and then the English, stuff like that. And then I'm going to go into the stats and abilities, and then eventually the fight score.
Okay. I think I know where my IRL fight score is going to be, because...
I think so too. So yeah, let's start with the description. Kobolds were a reptilian humanoid species, standing between 2 feet and 2 feet 6 inches, roughly, 35 to 45 pounds. They had scaled skin between reddish brown and black in color, and burnt orange to red eyes.
Okay.
Their legs were sinewy in digitigrade, which is a word that I found out today.
Oh, hey, we're learning words. This sounds like a $10 word. So, what does it
I thought
mean?
it was like, this is digitigrade, I think is how you say it. And
Ah,
it means
okay.
a two-leg mammal that walks on its heels.
Okay, so that's not something you encounter regularly, because...
It's I believe dogs and like cats kind of fall into this category. Where
Well,
they kind of walk on their heels, which would be like their pads,
I've seen that. I've seen it happen, and I know their general shape is similar to how kobold legs are. That's what they're called?
Yeah.
Huh.
I learn something every day.
I suppose so.
So they had long clawed fingers and jaws like a crocodile. Small white or tan horns protruded from their heads, and they had rat-like tails. Apparently, they would often smell of wet dogs and stagnant water.
Stagnant water?
Yeah, like cave water, which makes sense, I guess.
Okay, remind me not to cook a kobold in any campaign.
Oh, God.
Right.
Can't imagine that would taste very good.
Well, yeah, you'd start cooking it up, get it on the spit, and you're turning it, and it just smells like burnt, wet dog.
Ugh. I feel like eating a kobold would kind of fall into that whole borderline of like cannibalism because it's a humanoid species.
Yeah, it's like
kind of thing.
It's humanoid, but it also tastes like iguana.
Yeah, people do eat iguanas.
I want to eat an iguana. Get some iguana on a
Reminds
stick.
me of iguana bits from Fallout. The
Yeah.
Fallout series.
Oh my God,
We know what
does.
those are originally.
Oh my God.
My
yeah.
dad and I used to do this bit on the job site where we'd be walking around and there'd be some guys on the doing some construction, and we'd be like, "Oh, dude, you ever try yourself some iguana foot? You suck on some iguana foot after you cook up that iguana tail? Last you all fucking day. Good to
What?
go." It was a whole bit. You get people like turning heads like, "The fuck they talking about? Sucking on iguana foot?" And then
Oh, man.
yeah,
People do eat snakes and stuff, so I don't see why not.
maybe it's not so bad in the cannibalism department if you just like cut off the tail.
I mean, wouldn't that be worse? Oh, like if you only eat the tail?
Yeah, you only eat the tail. Like the tail's the only good
like
part.
slowpoke tail?
Yeah, like that. Maybe they grow
I
back
can't
like
imagine there'd be
chameleon.
I don't think they would.
Probably not. I mean,
Yeah, so I even went into a little bit into the Pathfinder description of them.
well, a lot of players are switching to Pathfinder these days. The OGL is heating up.
It is. The less common scale colors from Pathfinder would include yellow, orange, purple, and gray. Other shades, such as pink and gold, also known to occur.
Oh, okay.
And oddly enough, there is this kind of myth with kobolds. Apparently, there is a ghost kobold that have translucent scales. But apparently no sightings have been recorded in centuries.
Ah, yeah, that's like a axolotl type thing. Translucent, kind of ghostly. Something like that has got to be like in the deepest reaches of the Underdark. There's no doubt in my mind, because no one's really going down that far. Maybe some drow, but that's like real deep. Like, why fucking bother deep?
Yeah, like depths of a mountain. Like,
Dude.
yeah. So their scales are quite thick. As with most underground creatures, kobolds have dark vision,
Nice.
but they are not adapted to life on the surface. They are very sensitive to light.
Okay. I've seen some stuff on kobolds, like how they're very prone to working with tools, very crafty, cold-blooded, so they like to stay warm by fires. Their mating habits are kind of interesting because they're just kind of very laissez-faire, where they'll do their thing, but they're not committed. They're a polyamorous species.
Oh, yes, very. They mate rapidly. They're like rabbits.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well...
That's why most times when like a town will be like, oh, we have kobolds in our sewers, they want people to kind of get rid of them because they'll spread, and then they'll kind of try to loot the city.
Well, they're just like little pranksters, aren't they?
Yeah, they love to steal. They like things that aren't theirs. Like
Well,
kobolds don't craft their own items, except for their traps.
Yeah, so it's like they take what they can and they'll use it to the best of their ability with what ingenuity they have.
Right. The ultimate goal of the kobold race was to conquer as much land as possible. They would dig mines while laying cruel traps for interlopers, preferring an ambush to direct confrontation.
Makes sense.
If they ever confronted an enemy, they would try to overwhelm foes with sheer numbers. Among the monstrous humanoids, they were known for their cunning plans. Unlike any others, they would also share their plans among the entire tribe.
That makes sense because they're very teamwork oriented. And honestly, how else are you going to get Dragon Senpai to notice you?
I mean, true. You got to show, they work together. One sets a trap, they're all ready to spring it.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about their reproduction. Kobolds were extremely fecund egg layers. It's another fun word that I found out.
I know about their reproduction because...
Is it fecund or fecund? Sorry, go ahead.
Like I said, I know about their reproduction because last campaign I ran, my brother was playing a fashionista kobold, which...
Fashionista?
Oh, yeah. She was a fashion bitch. Didn't get accepted by the other kobolds because she likes to wear clothes and design the clothes, and kobolds like to be naked.
Yeah, they do.
So there was a little NPC kobold that was adopted by the party before she came along. And she decided, hey, he's a kobold, I'm a kobold, we're gonna get it going. And my brother, I guess he's never really seen consequences for fucking in D&D.
Oh no.
So I rolled some dice, I looked things up, and I'm like, oh, did you know that they're
very fertile.
they're very fertile, but in addition to that, it takes about 3 weeks to lay the egg.
Yeah, a female pregnant would lay her egg within 2 weeks, about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. And that's what got me, because this game lasted months, so a few weeks was quite a while. So I was sitting on that information for like 3 months. And the bard was the one to tell her, like, listen, you're pregnant. He's like, what? And not only are you pregnant, I understand that sometimes winged ones are born, and if one of those is born, I want the baby. What?
Oh, man.
He wanted to take one of the winged kobolds as an apprentice because he was a winged tiefling.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Ultimately, they struck up an agreement, and because they're all within the party, it's like, okay, the babies are going to be on the ship. It's no big deal. Although having an airship with baby kobolds, tell me you got to child-proof that shit.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, there's a whole thing.
That sounds awesome.
I think it takes 6 weeks after the eggs are laid to hatch.
Yeah. About 1 in 10 pregnancies lead to 2 eggs. incubation for about 2 months. The hatched kobold could walk in just hours.
It's wild, dude.
Yeah. The eggs are particularly sturdy, and the young inside could survive even if the egg broke as much as 15 days early.
What? That is wild.
Yeah, they're resilient, apparently.
Damn.
Yeah. And the kobold young mature very quickly. They reach a young adulthood within 6 years.
Okay. That's crazy. Not
So,
unexpected, but crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They kind of gotta get ready quick.
It's like that scene from The Lion King 1.5. You gotta have them grow up so they can dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel.
Exactly.
That's where my mind's at.
All right. So the female kobolds would lay their eggs in a common nest with specialized foster parents watching over the eggs and the wormlings.
Huh, foster parents is the... Well, I guess there's such a polyamorous society that having actual parents doesn't objectively matter that much.
They all had a communal nest, so it's not like they really kept track of like which baby was theirs anyway.
So I guess my brother selling one of the babies off to the bar to the party because he wanted an apprentice was not that unheard of.
Yeah, probably not. It doesn't seem like they really like take care of their kids. I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess so. Maybe not like their kids specifically, but
yeah, it's just like, see you around.
Kind of whatever kid is over there. Yeah. I think mine was this one.
Are you mine? Or hey, are you Stick? No, I'm Stock.
Damn it.
Oh, fuck.
So yeah, some rare kobold children had wings, while still others were dragon rot and showed signs of descent from a specific color of draconic ancestry.
Okay, so what's dragon rot? Like, I know the 1 in 10 get wings.
Mm-hmm. So the kobold children that had the wings are known as urds. That's URD, urd.
Urd.
They're not too different from just like a regular kobold. Their place in society is a little bit higher, I believe.
Okay.
While the dragon rot, when they're born, they look closer to a draconian. They have like the full, like, you know, kind of like if you were to have a draconian, the kobold have a baby.
Okay.
You know, and they are treated like gods. They are worshipped by the kobolds.
Huh. Well, I know wings are a big deal.
Yeah. The wings itself are a big deal. When they see that, they take it as the dragons are smiling at them. You know, they're being praised.
Oh, so this is like the chosen one. Like, you just gave birth to the fucking avatar of kobolds at that point.
Right. So the dragon rot eggs were a little bit different. The scales of the egg would be flecked with the dragon's color. And it would become more numerous throughout the incubation period. While the winged kobolds, I'm saying a lot, were often discouraged by ordinary kobolds, ritual demanded that dragon rot eggs could be taken to a sacred hatching place, so that dragon rot kobolds could be raised above ground in case they were able to fly and needed to learn how to use their wings.
Dude, that's wild. Like, they
so
have a sanctuary?
Birth, they're already being treated better.
Like, I think that's the one point where the parents actually give a fuck about their kid.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I birthed that, guys. It was me. I made the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn.
I wonder what happens to the females in this case.
Oh, that becomes the top most valuable female in the tribe right there.
Probably. They all probably want to breed with her.
Shit. Who doesn't want to breed with a bitch that just made a god? Like, hey, how you doing?
Honestly. Dragon Rock Kobold was considered a blessing by normal kobolds, being both a sign of their heritage and a powerful boon for their race as a whole. When the Dragon Rot egg was discovered amongst the kobold tribe, special accommodations had to be made, whether by making pilgrimage to a special location or already having access to such an area. Dragon Rot kobolds had to be raised in environments that allowed them to properly fly.
Okay.
Even not all Dragon Rot kobolds could soar. The possibility was important enough that a trek would be made at the moment's notice. If you even thought you could fly, they would take you.
Damn. So that's a big, big deal for them.
And my favorite part, all the research I've done today,
Okay, let's hear
At
it.
some point in time, kobolds learned to domesticate dire weasels.
You were telling me about that before the show.
This makes me so happy.
Dire weasels. Why am I
Yeah.
not seeing this in any of my games? Like,
I've never heard of dire weasels, man.
domesticated dire weasels. That sounds cool. I want to see just kobolds riding into battle on their fucking dire weasels. Goblins got their dire wolves or wargs or whatever. Let's get these dire weasels up in here.
Honestly. And they use them as their guards and their hunters. And apparently, because kobolds are kobolds, this resulted in lycanthropic kobold dire weasels.
But wait, there's more. Act now, and these kobolds are dire weasels.
And it even became a thing where, because kobolds are sexual deviants, they begin to have birth or give birth to them,
Oh,
becoming a natural lycanthrope.
that is crazy. Just because so many people are like, kobolds, they're weak. They're not going to affect my party. Throw an entire pack of dire weasel kobolds. You got lycanthropes. You got the dire weasels that backing them up. You got yourself traps and trickeries and pack tactics. That's a tough encounter, if you ask me.
I don't even know if these have a stat block or if dire weasels even like officially exist, but I hope they do.
Give me a stat block. I must have it.
Oh my god. That's my favorite.
I love it.
Kobolds were very resentful of their short nature or short stature.
So a Napoleon complex.
Exactly. They hated other races for poking fun at them for this. Most felt as though they ought to compensate for their small size in other ways, such as humor or aggression.
Humor is a great way to compensate for everything. I do it all the time. Except
Exactly.
I'm not funny. I wish I was funny.
So I have a quote from a character.
Okay.
Earthos Master Trapmaker. Even tall ones are shorter than I am when they're flat on their backs in a hole filled with spikes. Based?
Too dangerous to be kept alive. This is some wisdom being dropped right here.
Honestly, where other races considered heroes to be those who enact great feats of strength or military prowess, kobold heroes were those who showed great prowess in trap setting, torture, and ambush.
Torture? That's a new one. Huh. I kind of like it. That means
kobolds definitely have a lot more than I thought.
That means that if your party runs into a bunch of kobolds, they might not be killed right off if they get the drop on them. They can get captured for torture later. And that can be great for some good escapes, Got to escape the kobold sanctum because they're already on the inside and everything.
Your party gets jumped by kobolds and get knocked out.
No one ever suspects kobolds, but they're just crafty as fuck. If you're playing them right, they're going to be like hit and run and get out of the way, then lure the player into a trap. Like they might run right over a pit trap, all covered up and stuff. Because they're so light, they're not going to set it off. Then the player steps on right in, spike pit.
So I mentioned earlier that they do pop up in, folklores and stuff like that.
Right.
So they were mischievous household spirits in German folklore.
In German?
They were used to help with chores, give other valuable services. They often hide household farm tools and kicks over stooping persons, apparently. They just like to fuck with you.
I like it. So far, so good.
Oh, I gotta pick up this hammer. Kicks you in your ass.
Oh, that's great. So they're gonna run around, knocking shit over, causing trouble, little pranks here and there. You bend over to pick up a rake, but boom, gotcha.
Yeah. But other than that, they would just help you with your chores, I guess.
Huh.
And they were quite temperamental, and they would become outraged when they're not properly fed. Apparently, they would sometimes sing to children, though, which is pretty nice.
Well, they probably see children as their equals because they're both short.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, us
12-year-old and a kobold.
Yeah, shorty's got to stick together.
Yeah. Some kobolds have been called the spirits of caves and mines. Still others have specific names, such as Hoodakin, that I mentioned in that story.
Hoodakin, they're singing and being. I don't know what the words, so making them up.
Fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
10 out of 10 would sing again.
Yeah, he was known to frighten wives. He was known to become outraged and apparently kill children.
Frighten wives? Excuse me? Like,
there was another one called Goldemar, who apparently sees the sins of the clergy.
Well, there's a great many of those, apparently.
Man, little do they know.
Well, you know what? No wonder he saw the sins of the clergy. 12-year-old boys are just as much their friend. They look out for the children's.
I knew as soon as he said it.
Kobolds are friend to children's.
Probably. I would imagine so.
Yeah. That might be a controversial encounter to run. You got a shady cleric in the town, and the kobolds keep bogarting all the children, and the cleric's all like hires the party. You gotta help us get the children back from the kobolds. And the party gets down in there, and they're slaughtering kobolds left and right. And then by the time they get to the back, it's like, whoa, slow the fuck down. We were protecting them from that pervert. Wait, what? You just slaughtered our entire village to hand these children over to a pedophile.
Oh no. Pedophiles in my campaign?
Well, think about it. That's the one thing that everyone's okay with killing. Like,
that's very true.
The murder hobos have a license to kill as soon as you say that the cleric's a pedophile.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
I think it's a great setup because a lot of parties tend to get overzealous and not ask questions. So if you have a party that doesn't ask questions, this is a hilarious trick to pull.
Oh my god. The cleric you've been working for this whole time.
I think
you met his wife.
The cleric has a wife.
I'm going back on topic. In Incan folklore, a kobold was a small, pointy-eared, goblin-like creature with a short temper and a mischievous spirit. While generally described as well-intentioned, anger in kobold is said to be a dangerous mistake.
Right.
They are described as spirits that dwell among the living and can sometimes take the form of humans, elements, or animals.
Okay.
Depending upon where they choose and make their home.
Huh.
They could be anything.
Anything?
I don't know what it means when it says they can be elements.
Maybe like fire?
Like water? Like the fire in my fireplace is actually a kobold?
I think this is getting right into Fae territory, kind of like when you're watching a Miyazaki movie and they got those fucking sprites fluttering about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everything's a kobold at that point.
Right, exactly.
I think earlier you mentioned that kobolds in English folklore are referred to as brownies, and what I know about brownies is that's a type of fae, and it seems to me that there's a little bit of a fae influence, so maybe kobold and goblin are just synonymous and kind of a colloquial mixture of things.
Yeah, I think at that time, back in the day, they were all kind of in the same category. Anything that's not human, some kind of spirit, is like a demon or something.
Yeah, it's all demons and fae.
Yeah.
And goblins.
Goblins.
We got goblins afoot. Yeah, that's probably why they're so similar.
Over the time, they kind of melded together in the stories and across different cultures.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they had the internet to be like, yo, this is how we're going to define this one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there is very much deliberation over the origin of kobolds. It is believed that they descend from the ancient Greek koboloi, a sprite-like creature often invoked by followers of the god Dionysus. Even
Damn.
then, they were known as pranksters and tricksters. Simultaneously aided the god Dionysus in his bacchant endeavors.
I fucking love this.
I love Dionysus.
Dude, Greek mythology is my jam, and knowing that Dionysus employed a whole bunch of kobolds, like
Honestly,
the
right?
god of parties has just got kobolds all over the place. No wonder they're carrying baskets of jewels and gems and wines and things. Like, okay.
They just
I
wanna have
got
a
you.
good time.
Damn. I think if I run a Greek god campaign again,
Ooh.
Dionysus, all his agents are going to be kobolds.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. You got a kobold party paladin up in the place. You got party clerics, and they're kobolds. It's like, hey, the party cleric has arrived. Billy Dilly!
Dilly dilly?
Yeah, you ever see that Bud Light commercial? And they're all,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, with the Bud Light night, and they're all like, Billy Dilly!
Oh, my God.
That
That
was
makes me think of Monty Python for some reason.
Yeah, it's probably inspired by that, honestly.
Probably.
Hmm.
So by the 13th century, kobolds were adopted by the German people, culminating in the final name kobold. The Germanic suffix "olt," eventually "old," signifying the creature's supernatural origin.
Okay. I would say, having known a little bit about their tactics, because they're very tricky and everything. In a one-on-one fight, I could probably take one, and I'd give a kobold about a 3 out of 10. But the thing is, kobolds are...
It's never going to be just a straight up 1v1.
No, it's not. It's like if you were the fucking wet bandits in Home Alone, but it's not just one Kevin McAllister. It's 10.
30. Like,
dude, 10 Kevin McAllisters all trying to fuck your day? No, that IRL fight score goes from a 3 to a 9 real fucking quick.
if one kobold were to just walk into my house, it might be fine. But if 30 were to just bust in here,
they wouldn't even just bust in. They'd wait for you to step outside your door.
Jokes on them, I don't go outside.
They
wait a long time.
They wait for you to go to the bathroom, then they set a trap in your bedroom.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
That's because they're tricky. They steal your bed.
Really get me. They put a trap in the fridge. God damn it.
Not brilliant.
I would probably give them about in the odd case of a 1v1, probably like a 3. But if I'm getting trapped on by like a whole squad, that's like you said, definitely a 9. Like,
I'm just saying.
It's unlikely I'm making it out of there.
Yeah, that's a real tough one. How many Kevin McAllisters can you take on with prep time?
Exactly. Yeah, how much prep time you need? So real quick, I'm going to the stats. They're pretty simple. They don't have any extravagant abilities or anything like that.
Yeah, let's see.
So we have a strength of 7, dexterity of 15, constitution 9, 7 wisdom, and a charisma of 9.
Okay, so not the worst thing.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. They do have the dark vision and the sunlight sensitivity. It does give them disadvantage on perception checks while in direct sunlight.
I think they amended that in later edition. Oh, not later editions, but for the playable race, they did amend that.
That makes sense. Yeah, that would definitely make sense if you were more accustomed to if you were a playable character.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. When I had a kobold playing in my game, she decided to wear sunglasses made from gems.
Yeah, I would just put on sunglasses.
Yeah.
And the winged kobolds do have a 30-foot fly speed. But that's about all I have today.
Okay, not bad, not bad.
Kobolds.
as far as the news for the week, we have seen a lot of changes with OGL stuff. And Wizards has finally come out and said, hey, well, they're kind of like waving a bit of a flag there. I don't know if it's like a truce flag or a surrender flag. It's hard to tell at this stage, you know? They're talking about having everything as a 1.2 for the OGL that is subject to change, and actually putting out drafts. So okay, that's a start.
I did see one of the drafts.
What did you think of that?
It seems like they're trying in a way, but they're kind of, they want it, you know? They're not really going to back down completely.
Yeah.
And I think people are kind of expecting them to, and we should just realize that they're not, you know?
Yeah, it's at a certain point where they have higher-ups, and these people, they're going to dig in their heels the harder the community pushes. And it's unfortunate because we all just want the original OGL to stay in place. And I get that.
See it going is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on with it, and they've gotten rid of some of the aspects that a lot of people didn't like the royalty stuff. I expect that might come up again, but if they do so in a minor way, as well as there's been a lot of speculation on the topic. Let me see if I can pull up some of it right here. There is a lot to it, so I might not be able to.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. It's a lot to follow.
Yeah. And as it stands, it seems to me that there's been a big upset in the community that will kind of remedy the situation to get us to where we want with the OGL. So basically, what I'm seeing here is there's a few major bullet points for the OGL, and that's to do with the virtual tabletops, because it seems that a lot of it will apply to virtual tabletop content, or it seems like they want to keep a lot of their stuff to themselves so that other VTTs aren't kind of treading in on what they're doing. I guess the general idea is keeping things at a Roll20 level as opposed to the full immersive imagination substituting experience that they have of the big maps. They're all 3D and everything. It's kind of like what Tailspire's got going on. You know what I mean?
What's Tailspire?
Tailspire is this virtual tabletop thing where I think it's agnostic as far as system goes, but you can have spell animations, 3D tokens. You could use it in VR theoretically, I think. I could be wrong about that, but it's a whole 3D environment. You can go through it with your players and everything. Full on, you build it yourself. Then you can look around. You can make the environment. It's crazy, and even has
Sounds kind of cool.
a whole dice roller thing. For me as a DM, I'm like, nah, I couldn't possibly use that. I have a life. Could you imagine having to build every set for every session? Like, dude, I don't have Matt Mercer time.
I mean, sometimes I do, like when I was, looking for battle maps and stuff.
Yeah, but you found a way to get around the battle map situation.
I did. And it goes into a little bit of who we have here.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Some of the changes that they want to make are deauthorizing the old OGL. Big concern the community's had from the very beginning, so we don't need to touch too much on that. Another thing that they are concerned with, or claim to be concerned with, is third-party publishers putting out harmful or discriminatory or illegal content under the old OGL system. So I guess they're afraid of people publishing racist stories with rape and incests and all kinds of debaucherous evil things and Nazis, and it's just like, okay, I don't really see that being much of a issue unless you provoke the community into making such things so that you have to go through them because they've gone and pissed off the community. That's a thing. Yeah.
definitely feel you there.
Honestly, it's starting to look like the biggest thing that they're going to have to contend with is orc. Now, you might be wondering, what's orc? Well, orc is a system agnostic license agreement that tons of these other D&D type things, like tabletop publishers, are all adopting. More than 1,500 publishers are taking this on. MCDM, Kobold Press, you name it, they're on there. Roll20's on it. I guarantee, like, the whole community is just coming together, all in on this. It doesn't matter, because, like, all these tabletop games, the whole community, they want everything to be the way that tabletop games have always been. Open source, open content, homebrewers able to do what they need to do. And I think that's kind of the gold standard. It's something we definitely need to strive for. And hopefully, I know their lawyers aren't going to want it, but I think that Wizards of the Coast should just kind of bow their head and take the L. Sign the orc.
I think at some point they're going to have to compromise.
There's no choice. If they want to have a business, they'll have to.
Right.
Because people will leave. There's no two ways about that. No amount of Critical Role still running D&D is going to save them there. But that leads us to one other interesting thing I found. On their website, when they were taking some FAQ stuff for the OGL, I found something that was a little weird, and it kind of circles back to what we were talking about before with the AI DMing, where they say, we are not trying to replace DMs with AI DMs. Forrest, do you have any input on this whole AI DMing situation?
Well, I would say it seems like the tech is still catching up. I mean, I don't think it'll be replacing any DMs like anytime soon, unless you really just have never had a DM and wouldn't know what to expect. You might think you're getting a similar result from like AI Dungeon or something like that.
That's kind of the impression I got when I tried it out when you sent me the link last night.
I still have to play with it more. I am very impressed. But yeah, I think most of it just comes down to like maybe they'd have to take an AI and specifically train it on D&D handbooks and stuff like that. I think they must have a good amount of that stuff that they're trained on already, but it's just not, it's too generalized and it's not specific enough.
Yeah, like if you took all the source material and then just trained an AI on Critical Role and Dimension 20, like if you just took like 3 podcasts worth of DMing, which is a ton of content, probably thousands upon thousands of hours of content to go over, you could reasonably train an AI to be probably as good as the dipshit at your local game store.
Yeah.
Maybe better? I don't know. Can't bribe this one with snacks.
Yeah, I think D&D will always be that thing where the human connection will, kind of outclass any AI.
Hey, maybe the AI can be where we send all that guys that you get in a group, right? Ship them off to the AI, and then they'll be like, oh, this AI is trash. No, maybe. But maybe it's more likely that you are causing the problem, because you can't cause the problem with the AI. It's not going to kick you for being an asshole.
Man, the AI would be such an amazing way to teach people how to play.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess I got mixed feelings about it, because after trying it out last night, it just seems like it's lacking, but there's no reason that it couldn't learn. It wasn't bad. It was like interacting with Describe.
Describe?
Yeah, that service that all those YouTubers that are doing the D&D stuff plug. It basically, what Describe does is you can make an account, or you could get like a free account. The paid subscription gives you more options and access. essentially you type in a prompt and it'll give you descriptions on things like, oh, hey, I need descriptions for this bar, and you can read off these very articulate little descriptions of things.
Gotcha.
It's a whole service. DMs use it. It's good for prep time. Like if you don't feel like you have the flowery words for something, you'd be like, boom, describe. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna sound real artsy. And maybe even learn a little bit about the flowery language to describe something nicely.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, we can't.
Yeah, I would say GPT-3 would be great at doing stuff like that, especially if you have like a loose idea of what you want to write, and you're just like, here, add more detail to this, make this more, like you said, flowery and descriptive.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, one of the biggest assets of this AI might be to replace Describe.
Ooh. Integrate.
Oh yeah, it could certainly improve on the existing. I'd have to check out how Describe works and everything, because I'm not familiar with it, but
Yeah,
I will be checking it out.
yeah, I've checked it out before. It's not bad. Kind of just search for the general type of thing you're looking for, and it gives you something. It's not. But let's see here. Oh, we got our homebrew showcase. What do you got here, Sam?
Hey man, I talked for most of the time. I think you should start it out.
You know what? That's a fair one. Usually I got that dominating presence, but it's good to see you talking more.
Thank you. It's practice.
It is. Now, what I got here is a little sword, legendary, because the first of our legendaries that we're bringing in here is called the Black Star. Now, this thing looks really cool, and I'm going to put it in the Discord so you can see that as well. I'll post that right there. Tell me, would you not want to have this in a video game?
Where am I looking?
It's in that chat right there, the podcast chat. Anyway.
I see.
It's all swirling together like a big old spirally spike, and it has what looks like a black star, as it might suggest, in the hilt. It's wild, purple and yellow. It's crazy. And the description, it says here, light can be a faithful ally, but some, they see it as a weapon to be wielded like any other. The core of this longsword, a fraction of a barely contained collapsing star wreathed in an otherworldly metal. You have a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magical weapon, and all attacks made with this weapon deal radiant damage. Additionally, you gain dark vision to 120 feet while holding this weapon.
Nice.
Right? And then it's got 2 main abilities. First is Event Horizon. Loving the name there.
That's awesome.
Right? While attuned to this weapon and holding it on your turn, you can use a bonus action to speak the command word, causing a sphere of magical darkness to emanate from it in a 30-foot radius. You can see through this magical darkness and command it to move up to 40 feet at the start of your turn. Any non-magical sources of light, such as torches, lanterns, candles, and the like, that enter the darkness are extinguished and grant you a charge of singularity, up to a maximum of 10 charges.
Okay.
This magical darkness lasts for up to a minute, or until you dismiss it by using your singularity charges. You can do this a number of times per day, equal to your proficiency bonus. The ability charges it uses after completing a long rest. You can only ever have 1 Event Horizon sphere active at a time. Okay, pretty good. So balanced using the proficiency bonus, and I kind of like that because otherwise this thing is broken.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
The second ability, Singularity. On your turn, while your event horizon sphere is active, you can use a bonus action to cause the sphere to collapse and explode in a burst of light. All creatures within the sphere, when it bursts, take 1d12 radiant damage per charge of Singularity and are pulled 10 feet towards the center of the sphere. After doing this, the magical darkness dissipates and all Singularity charges are lost.
So you could essentially do 10d12 radiant damage.
It's kind of like that. You ever play Overwatch? Orisa has that little gravity pole ball thing.
Very true.
Yeah, it's like that with like a little extra radiant burst of darkness. It's crazy.
Man, that's sick.
I like it. And this one is, they have a Patreon, Abyssal Brews. I think we've brought in an item by Abyssal Brews before, but we're definitely going to post that in the description. Shout out to Abyssal Brews. What would you give this as a 1 to 10 rating?
Well, I would definitely want that in game. I'd give it like a 9 or a 10.
I think it's balanced by how he's got the proficiency bonus thing. It has the potential to do a lot of damage. A smart player can probably cheese the fuck out of that. And I think that it's a good late game weapon as far as magic items go. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's overpowered, but a smart player could probably take it to overpowered territory.
I could agree with that.
But it's a legendary item, so yeah, that kind of deserves to be overpowered. And it's just aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Definitely agree. I would definitely want that in game.
Oh yeah, put that in Skyrim. Somebody mod this in for me. I'd like it. So what do you got?
So I have a weapon as well called a Abaddon Blade of Kings.
Cool.
It is a artifact greatsword. This was created by a user named Bullfrog.
You remember to bring that part in.
I did. Fortunately, I did find this on D&D Beyond. So.
No, that's cool. We got to give the shout out to Bullfrog.
Yeah, absolutely. This item seems sick.
Yeah, you should post a picture of it to the podcast chat.
Unfortunately, there was no picture.
Oh, they didn't get the art. This is why we need more of that AI generated stuff.
Go ahead and pop this in the AI generator.
I know it's controversial, but let's just face it. The thing about art is some people are talented for it, some people aren't. And there's a big thing in the community where people are scared that all these third-party content creators are going to get flooded with AI art. And yes, that's probably going to happen. And people that are commission artists aren't going to be necessarily losing money over this, because the people that are going to be putting this kind of AI art into their homebrew content probably couldn't afford the commission art to begin with.
Yeah. And they're not looking for anything spectacular, you know?
Yeah, like if you have a vision for,
really wait for the time.
Like commission artists, we hired one for the show because although we do use some AI art for our thumbnails, it's one of those things where commission art gets you exactly what you want. And AI art just gives you an approximation of where you're going.
Exactly. But yeah, this is a sentient weapon. I always love weapons like this.
Sentient weapons are so much fun.
Honestly. So it's a weapon forged from an old king from a land of fire. This greatsword bears glowing runes and inferno along its crossguard and has an unusual blade shape, appearing to have a broad, rounded, bladed tip instead of a point, much like an axe.
Cool.
The weapon itself is made of adamantine-like metal, like dark metal that's warm to the touch. When its command word is spoken, it ignites with an otherworldly flame. The blade becomes superheated and hums with thunderous power.
That sounds fun.
All right. So, sentience. Abaddon is a sentient neutral weapon with an intelligence of 20, wisdom of 20, and charisma of 15.
What?
Hearing and dark vision up to 120 feet. This is a powerful spirit.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
Abaddon, like the demon lord.
Oh,
probably.
is that where I heard that from?
Most likely.
Damn.
Yeah. The weapon communicates telepathically with its user, and can speak, read, and understand Infernal, Giant, Draconic, and Common. I almost thought it said right. I was like, how is this sword writing?
It writes in blood, Sam. It writes in blood.
So here we go about the spirit. A spirit that calls itself Abraxas inhabits Abaddon. The weapon imparts wisdom unto the user and complements them should they defeat any chaotic creature. Being in the presence of a blacksmith forge and having restraint when anger or hate might arise.
Okay.
Occasionally, the spirit within the blade will request to be set free, preferably without destroying Abaddon. As the spirit shows some reverence for the weapon.
Huh.
So it likes the weapon, but it wants to be out of it.
I think there's shields that are similar to that in Out of the Abyss or something.
Probably. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember seeing something like that, and it's interesting. I would say as far as a weapon, I'd probably give this like a...
Oh, I'm not quite done yet.
Oh.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, I'm going to give it a 6, and you got to change my mind, sir.
All right. So, the weapon has 3 states: dormant, awakened, and exalted. Oh boy. All right. So, in this dormant state, you can speak, read, write, and understand Giant, Infernal, and Draconic. You gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. When the command word is spoken, the blade erupts in fire and deals an extra 2d6 fire damage to the target. This damage is doubled against chaotic creatures. While in possession of this weapon, you get advantage on strength checks.
Oh, cool.
So in its awakened state, the weapon's bonus to attack increases to 2. The weapon now deals 2d6 thunder damage when the command word is spoken. You gain resistance to fire and thunder damage. When you or an allied creature within 30 feet are struck by a creature you can see within 150 feet, you may use your reaction to cast Fireball on the target. Alternatively, you may cast Thunder Step to that target if it's within range.
Reaction? I was holding that in just like... Reaction
This feature
Fireball?
cannot be used more than once per day. And recharges at dawn.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, this
Thunder
is...
Step?
Thunder Step is like Misty Step, only it has a lot more boom and a whole lot more hurt for your enemies.
That's so cool.
It is cool. It really is. I'd have to say, you convinced me. I'm knocking that up to an 8 because, like, I love the concept that the weapon not only is intelligent, but as it awakens more, it grows with you. And as a DM, like, you could have a player have that early on, and it's not going to be game breaking.
Yeah.
And then just like
one more state, the Exalted.
Ooh, change my mind again, sir.
The weapon's bonus changes to 10 or to +3.
Okay, +10 is like, okay, you lost me.
Oh, you are now immune to fire and thunder damage. That's kind of a noof. The 2d6 of fire and thunder damage is now 4d6. And the weapon itself now deals an extra d6 of slashing and piercing damage.
That's just so... That might be too much damage.
As an action, you may use the greatsword to cast spells equal to the user's strength, DC 18, Firestorm, Destructive Wave, or Sunbeam. Once all charges are used, you may not use this feature again until the next dawn. Having slayed a chaotic creature, regains 1 charge. Or being bathed in magical fire.
Ooh, that's too powerful. That's not balanced at all, but damn, it's cool.
I mean, the way to ascend the blade does kind of have its own kind of prerequisites.
Okay, so it's
You
like
have
one of those
to-
things where the DM has full control over how powerful this becomes.
Yeah, killing chaotic or evil creatures imbues the blade with power. Continual adherence to what the blade likes, bringing it to a fire giant or an adult gold dragon, or slaying a demon with the blade can also ascend it.
Okay.
So there is a section that mentions about releasing Abraxas. So it's releasing the spirit of Abraxas from the blade is a quest all its own.
You
If the
know,
user
yeah, that's amazing.
Oh. It's a quest all its own.
Well, yeah, exactly, because there's a lot of plot. This thing has plot built into it, progression built into it. It's got power. It makes you feel good when you're doing shit with it. It's cool, and like ultimately, it can change a campaign's direction.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all within the DM's control, and for that, I'm gonna stick with our 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I'd probably say about the same.
because like I feel like it might be too powerful in the later stages, but at the same
I would
time,
think this would be like a late game weapon.
yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 8 out of 10. Like I don't think it's perfect, but I really like the
I think
potential.
it's pretty cool. Yeah, and even like Abraxas will request you to create a body or find a body. He wants you to let him go, and he's not an evil spirit. Is what I'm getting from this. Apparently, once he's free, he'll thank you, and he'll even maybe help you.
Ooh, so you could get a ally.
You could.
Okay.
But there's always a chance that maybe he has business to ascend to. He's bound to a sword for whoever knows how long.
Well, that could make him very bitter. So, like, if someone refuses to release him, that could be a whole story on its own.
Right. Definitely say thank you, Bullfrog. This is a really cool weapon.
It is. I'm loving that. Like, it's really high up there for me. I'm liking that.
Yeah. And definitely being like an artifact and requiring attunement, it has potential.
Oh, absolutely.
Find this in, Descent to Avernus, find this in Abaddon's chamber or something.
That sounds about right. That'd be cool.
Sounds sick. Yeah, that's about all I have. I'll definitely give this like an 8.5 out of 9.
Okay. Out of 9?
Sorry, I mean 8.5 to a 9.
Okay. I respect that. It is a pretty cool weapon.
Yeah, maybe I just have a biased opinion towards sentient weapons.
I don't know.
Soul Eater was one of my favorites.
You know what? I gotta give you that. Like I've made sentient weapons for players in the past. One of them you've seen in action. Yeah,
Lemon Drop.
Yeah,
Lemon
Drop, the rapier. Yeah, you know what?
A great one.
I'll have to post the Lemon Drop on the website. But all Lemon Drop is, he's a rapier that secretes lemon juice. So
how'd you come up with this?
Well, just imagine how bad it would be to get stabbed with a sword and then lemon juice right in the wound. So
it added extra damage, didn't it?
Yeah, an extra D4 of acid damage. In addition, he was extremely annoying, and he could squirt lemon juice as his own attack like a couple times a day, which is basically an acid splash, but lemony.
Pocket lemon juice.
Pocket lemon juice. And he also had the ability to flavor water.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, the lemonade stand sword. But what really got me is that I made him purposely annoying so that if anyone decides to take him, because like you can get him early on in a game, because always the backstory I use with this is that he was a failed creation of an aspiring wizard. And he's like, "Hi guys, Master, I would desperately like to stab that man and squirt lemon juice in his eye. Oh, I'm gonna give him the lemon.
I remember when I first heard the voice, I just died laughing.
It's just a fun thing to do, but it's like, that's hard.
It was great. It was great.
Let's get him, master. Oh, I'm gonna squirt him in the eye. I think we're good. So
I think so.
see you next time. Peace.
Peace.